Brett Okamoto from ESPN alongside MMA manager Ali Abdelaziz, who normally is out here in Vegas, which is where I live. But you are out in Denver with Justin Gaethje as he's in the midst of preparing for that interim title fight against Tony Ferguson. Let's start there, Ali. Why did you make the decision to? I mean, a lot of people don't want to travel right now. You know, Justin, I'm sure he knows how to train. He's a veteran, but why did you feel like you needed to go out there and be a part of his physical camp?
You know, I talked to Trevor Whitman. I know Trevor for 18 years, and he used to be one of my coaches. And I was like, listen, you know, we have 3 weeks to train. And what do you think about bringing Kamaru Usman, UFC welterweight champion, and Beneil Dariush to kind of very much, you know, they long guys, they close to kind of Tony style in a way, range-wise. And Trevor's, you know, one of the best coaches in the game, and he's very open-minded. And you know, I told my family, listen, you know, I gotta go spend 1 week with Justin Gaethje, and I brought Beneil and Kamaru and myself here to help him train. You know, to go over certain things. And Justin, all the time, 1 week before a fight, he always comes spend 1 week with me or 2 weeks with me in Vegas, and we always, you know, get some workout together and help watch out, and under the supervision of Trevor. And you know, and we come here, man, and yes, you know, Benny's been giving Justin some great sparring, some great grappling. Kamaru yesterday sparred with Justin, did 2-3 rounds, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm very confident. You know, I watched this round with Beneil and Kamaru. He went 5 hard rounds with Neil Magny. You know, a lot of these guys give him great looks, and he looked great, man. Even in the grappling aspect on Monday, we went over to a lot of things, and I'm very, you know, he'll be ready. He'll be ready.
Be honest, when you were on that flight from Vegas to Denver, what were you expecting in terms of how Justin would look, especially after, you know, the fight got canceled again, and so then for, you know, a couple of days he didn't think he was fighting again, and he was, you know, not training anymore.
Justin Gaethje guy never takes short notice fight, and it doesn't really match how much money you're gonna offer him, you know. And I think it was something very special because a title on the line, on the line. And I very much, I was on a plane, and I was like, you know, 50-50 fight. You know, that's what I think. But when I see him sparring with the UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, and he does very well, you know, my confidence got better when I see him with Beneil. Beneil is a savage. We saw what Beneil did his last 3 finishes, 3 bonuses, and they give us such a great work, and they all giving Justin the work he needs. They're not there trying to kill Justin Gaethje, right? They try to go very hard to Justin and give him the look Tony Ferguson guy. Remember, Tony Ferguson, an orthodox, a crazy fighter. He come at you with different angles, and this guy was imitating him so well. And guess what? We in Colorado, high altitude. You can't really breathe, right? And Justin, he was doing well, 5 rounds strong, you know, and he always does extra after training, you know. Real champion always do extra, and he's doing extra after training. He missed with Trevor or running. He did 5 rounds and went to the mountain around sprints. That's how motivated this young man is. And you know, it's been great, man. It's been great in Colorado. I missed it. I used to live here, and it's been just. I'm so confident of Justin right now. A lot more confidence like last week. That's, you know, what I'm gonna tell you. Listen, Justin, Tony Ferguson, if I describe him, he's a brawler, was great. He was an opportunistic ground game, right? I'm not gonna say he had very high level ground game, because we saw what Kevin Lee did to him. He mounted him, he almost took his back. But Tony, he hurt you and he catch submission. He's almost like a catch wrestler, right? He's an opportunistic jiu-jitsu black belt, you know. You know, of course, you have a great coach like Eddie Bravo. I think, like I said the other day, without him, he will be a 50-50 fighters. And I really believe that, because I think Tony, he catch you guys with submission. That's a lot of Eddie Bravo style, you know, and I got to give respect to him when he's due. But realistically, he's fighting a guy who's the best technical brawler we ever see in the sport. Justin Gaethje, hand down, best technical brawler. You know, it's different between a brawler. Tony Ferguson is a brawler. Justin Gaethje is a technical brawler, but I have to remind everybody, this man is an All-American, Division I All-American, also a great wrestler, right? But listen, it's a great fight for the fan. It's gonna be a chaos, and Tony have to be ready. Just in case he's ready to die in there. The question is Tony's gonna be ready to die in there? And normally he is. He is ready to die in there, and we're gonna see how deep he can dip, and we're gonna see how deep Justin can dip. And I think it's such a great fight stylistically, And I think the last 3 fights we saw Justin, he switched a little bit, with his corner. My opinion, Trevor Whitman, one of the best coaches we've ever seen in the sport, right? He's quiet, doesn't talk about himself, but he studied guys. And the last 3 fights, 3 knockout, less than 5 minutes, Justin didn't take any damage, right?
Yeah.
And I want to see how Tony can take damage, because Justin Gaethje, it doesn't hit you like Kevin Lee, it doesn't hit like Pettis, it doesn't hit like any of this body, these people. Justin Gaethje hits you. When he hits you, people normally go to sleep. And this is my prediction. I want to know how hard he can take Justin's hit, because Justin's gonna hit him, but I want to know how is his recovery, is gonna be. Listen, it's a great fight for everybody.
Yep. Hey, one question I had about this fight coming together. A lot of times when you see this, where guys are accepting things on short notice, taking some things that they normally wouldn't, that contract negotiations come into play. And sometimes these guys get completely new deals in situations like this. Is that the case with Justin? Did anything change in terms of his contract for this fight, or is he still on the previous one?
They know how to take care of Justin. Justin is well taken care of. Listen, I'm not big on making 8-5 deals or like a lot of these crazy deals. He got taken care of, but he's still on the same contract. It was no more fight added to the contract, but the UFC understand the offer. He put it on the line, and they take care of him. He got a pump. But this is between Justin and the UFC. I don't think I want to talk about any number publicly. But me happy about the deal. I think he's happy. And listen, me and him and Trevor, we make great teams, because I always talk to Trevor. Because Trevor is he's the mastermind of the whole thing, and he's been around in the fighting game for a long, long time, right? I think it was a great opportunity for Justin, and we're ready to go, we're ready to rock.
So in addition to Justin, how many fighters do you have completely on 249?
I think I have 6 fighters. 6 fighters.
Okay. Justin's camp looks pretty good. You got the welterweight champion in there. You got Beneil Dariush. It looks like you guys are getting some very good work in there. How about the other ones? So what has it been like trying to set up camps for all of these guys under these circumstances?
I'm here, man. I'm so blessed because I have such a great communication with all my guys. They're all almost like friends, even guys fight each other. When I called Kamaru to come down, he said no problem. I called Benny. Benny's one of the nicest guys with the sport I've ever seen. He said no problem. Because in the past, Justin opened the door for him to train at the gym, And I think it become like a culture. Like it's between all my guys, like dominant MMA guys, is respect in there. You see Kamaru, you see Justin and Khabib at the media day. It was respect. I'm gonna be done this week with Justin. Next week I'm gonna go to Arizona. I gotta go Triple C. I'm gonna give him some love because I'm very excited about him coming back, and I wanna show the love equally between all my guys, much as I can. It's very hard, but next week I'll be going to Arizona to spend a little bit of time with Triple C.
Okay. Ali, just in general, what has this time been like for you over the last month as a manager? What are obviously the world has changed over the last month. How have you felt it change? What kind of stress levels or panics or concerns are you getting from your athletes, and the different promotions are handling it differently? What are some of the kind of key storylines and the big pieces of this, from your perspective?
Listen, I have a completely different relationship with my athlete because I'm really invested emotionally, not only in the fighting business, and I reach out to everybody, individually, and or on a group text or whatever, and I make sure they have food on the table. I make sure their rent is paid, and I know the UFC come out and they say they're going to take care of these guys. But listen, without these guys, I wouldn't be here. I have a great family, I have a good house, I have a good car, and I want to make sure they have the same thing. I want to make sure they have food on the table. You know, I can eat and they're not eating. I cannot pay my rent and they can't pay my rent. And I made sure it become very personal. You know, I really didn't focus about what the UFC is gonna do. I focus about what I'm gonna do. You know, I don't want to make somebody. I make sure people, if they need a phone bill, is paid, electricity bill is paid, and some of these guys have money and some didn't, right? And I want to make sure I step in as a big brother, not as a manager. It was I put the manager thing to the side. I'd be like, you know what, that I call everybody brother. That's what I always call people, right? I want to step in that I'm the big brother that always thought of me. And I want to make sure they're taken care of. You know, some people needed help, some people didn't need help. But I know a lot of this fighter have a lot of pride, a lot of ego. They're not gonna ask, and I kept pushing it. You know, I'm not saying I have, you know, I'm like, you know, Dana White money, things like that. But listen, if I can help somebody, I will help them. You know, because without these guys, I don't even exist. You know, I give my family a good life because these guys, and I want to make sure if time is hard, we're all taking care of each other.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I wanted to ask you about your reaction and your thoughts earlier this week. The PFL announced that they were suspending their entire season for 2020. Their plan is to come back in 2021. I know you have some athletes over there, and this impacts them, right? So what can you tell us about what this does for you, the athletes you represent who are signed to the PFL this year?
Listen, about PFL, everybody know how I feel about PFL. PFL, you know, this is a promotion. I have a previous relationship with, work relationship with. I support them. I want them to grow. I can't really tell you. Listen, if the president Donald Trump next week said we're opening the country, I'm gonna go back to PFL. I'll be like, listen, I think prematurely you cancel the season, right? And I think some of this fight fought in October or December, right? And realistically, to fight again in May, that's losing 16 or 18 months of your career. I always say this to guys, right? A lot of guys want to hold out on their contract and not fight and all that. You can buy everything in life, but you can't buy time. Some of the fighters, they're okay with it. But some of the guys wait 18 months or 16 months, even 12 months. It take 1 year off your life. You're not doing anything, right? And I'm not gonna say they premature cancel the season because I don't know when this country gonna open. And I think right now I'm just gonna watch. I see what's going on, you know. And I know they come back. They mentioned they're gonna pay guys from July to December like a small salary, right? But this salary, I don't think these guys can afford to take care of their families because also I think you know, PFL being generous, you know, to give whatever it is, but it's not enough to support the whole entire family. Especially if you have children, you have to pay rent. It's not enough. And also, but they don't. It's not in the contract. That's something that be like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a little bit of money to go buy, right? But maybe for 5 months. What about the other 7 months? And it's not their responsibility to give anybody money from the first place. But the PFL have planned to have regular fight from July to December if the country open? Maybe they do, right? But you know, I'm gonna work with them. We're gonna see what happens. It's still a developing situations, right? But you know, let's see what happens. But I can't really say what's gonna happen because we don't know what's gonna happen, right? We crossing fingers. May 9 is gonna happen. I think it will happen, but I thought April 18 was gonna happen too, but it didn't happen. It's very hard as a fighter to stay focused, be in the camp, you know. And I brought here, I see the spirit. There's a great spirit around Justin Camp, you know. It's not in his mind this fight might be canceled, right? And this is very, very hard to do.
Yeah. Hey, last thing I'll ask you about is, you know, Khabib Nurmagomedov, obviously he was supposed to fight this last weekend. We all know why he didn't. Recently, George Saint-Pierre was talking to ESPN, and this is not a new topic, but it's a topic that just continues to linger out there that, hey, George is retired, but he leaves the door just slightly cracked open to potentially fight a guy that he really respects in Khabib Nurmagomedov. So you represent Khabib, you know how many more fights this guy wants, how many years he wants to be in there, sort of his mood. You know him better than obviously any of us. What has to happen here to see a fight between George and Khabib?
I mean, Justin Gaethje even try to get me killed, but not. Listen, I listened to the interview, and I think the way the interview was conducted, it was like a little bit manipulated. You know, first of all, you know, George is not even in the conversation right now. Let me say something first. George St-Pierre is the greatest fighter of all the time. I'm telling I represent Khabib, I represent the many great champions. But George St-Pierre, it is the greatest athlete fighter in UFC ever seen. Period. There's nobody else. It's right now is nobody. But and he's a very good friend of mine. I love George. Been my friend for 15, 16 years, and I'm not gonna say anything about negative about George because he's a wonderful human being, and I really have a lot of love for him. Right? Khabib is my brother. And I'm very close with him, like I'm very close to a lot of my athletes, right? If George St-Pierre wanted to fight, it's very simple. We can make this happen. In 2018, George St-Pierre wanted to fight Michael Bisping for the middleweight title. Dana White didn't believe it, and I got involved as a friend. And I have to convince John Shelby to convince Dana to meet with George. George flew to Las Vegas. I didn't manage him. I was helping him as a friend. He had dinner with me and Sean Shelby and Dana White at an Italian restaurant in Las Vegas. And then I was like, this guy don't want to fight. He never want to fight again. 30 minutes in the conversation, George went to the bathroom. Dana White, he's out of his mind. He's crazy. George St-Pierre, it is out of his mind. He is a little bit nutty, right? And then
why did he say that? Why? What did he mean?
Because George started getting up, like shouting and walking around the table, and just got very emotional. George St-Pierre, he's an emotional guy. He always have a chip on his shoulder, but it's real. And Dana White see the reality in it, right? And after that, Ari wanted to meet him. We flew on Dana's plane. Me and Dana and George met us there. We met Ari in here, and this is how the Bisping happened, right? I don't manage George. I didn't manage Bisping. And that was 2018. Now, let's be real. I manage Khabib. I'm very good friend with George. You don't think I can make this fight happen with Dana White? But Dana White has stipulations. He said, if George St-Pierre wants this fight, people talk about every couple of months about George St-Pierre, but I respect Justin. I respect Tony. George is not even in a conversation because it's a lot of guys before George. I'll put George before Conor every day of the week, but I'm not going to put George before Justin Gaethje. I'm not going to put George before Tony Ferguson because this is a deserving guy. But it's, because they'll be disrespectful, not because Justin is my client, disrespectful. And George is not the guy I want to disrespect other people, And if George St-Pierre wanted this fight really, really happen, he has to do three things. Pick up the phone. He can call me. He can call Dana directly. Dana White respect George St-Pierre. He really likes George St-Pierre. And Dana White doesn't like too many people. He does not. He have to make 155 pounds, and he have to communicate. He have a good team, but he always can call me. And everybody can ask him what happened in 2018. And he's my friend. But I communicate people. I communicate with people. That's it. But all the time talk about George want to fight this guy, George want to fight this guy. Hey, send the location, like Khabib said. Send the location, send the phone number. We can make it happen. Right now it's about Justin Gaethje. For me, it's about Justin Gaethje fighting Tony Ferguson, knock his head off, clean off. You understand? Send them back. Listen, people said it's a curse. Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje is a curse. Guess what? May 9, the spell on this fight is going to be dissolved because Justin Gaethje is I believe he's going to knock him out. He's going to put him to sleep. And now we don't have to talk about Tony anymore, right? That's it, man. It's kill or to be killed. And that's what just to bring it to the table. But George, I love George, but it's simple. Call me, make 155 pounds, and call Dana White.
Yes.
Believe me, Dana White like money, man. Nobody like money more than Dana White. But it's going to be, most of the time, it's going to be on his term. And his term is 155 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's his term. I think this is the problem. George want to make 155 pounds. Personally, I don't want to see George fight again. The guy did everything he did in the sport. Why he need to fight Khabib? Khabib is 31 years old. It's I'm not saying George is very good, you know, but George, he's smaller than Khabib. Walking weight, George walks smaller than Khabib. I know for sure. He walked around on 183. Khabib walked around on 185, right? But right now, at this moment, it's not about George. It's about Justin Gaethje knocking out Tony Ferguson, fighting Khabib for the undisputed lightweight title.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, I can't just, this whole George conversation have to be killed today, because George, he did everything. Why you want to fight Khabib? For what?
I mean, I think it's, well, to me, there's only two fights that he would ever want to come back for at this point, and it's Conor or it's Khabib, just because of the magnitude.
Let's be real. You know, Conor is irrelevant right now. I'm telling you, he's irrelevant. Listen, Khabib is number one. Number two, Gaethje and Tony. Conor is number four. Why are we even talking about Conor? Nobody cares about Conor. Conor have an opportunity to fight Gaethje. Now, guess what? Gaethje is going to be fighting for the title, and Conor is going to sit in the stand watching. Or maybe he's like illegally streaming the pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, nobody cares about this guy. Why does George have to beat the guy who tapped 4 times in his career?
I'm not saying he has to beat them. I'm just saying that I think that would interest him to some degree.
You know what's the problem is? The media created Conor. We all talk about Conor. Like, I'm talking about high-level fighters. I'm talking about killers. You understand? Yeah. We're not talking about money fight. If we're going to talk about money, yes, bring Conor to conversation. But if you talk about number one contender, Conor doesn't even belong in there. He's number 4 right now. He's not even number 1, number 2, number 3. You understand? And if George come, listen to me. Khabib's father dreamed to make Khabib and George Saint-Pierre, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If it was $100 million on the table for Conor and $20 million for GSP, Khabib's father is the boss. It's not me, it's not Khabib. He's gonna say, no. You fight in GSP. Conor is it's okay. It's old news.
All right, I got 2 things for you. First off, you can't say that the media created Conor, because actually right now, if you asked any media member out there, they would all tell you that Conor does not deserve a rematch with Khabib. Every single one of them would say that. So that's just materially false. And the second thing I want to ask you about, and it's something that I'm predicting, is I think that there's a good chance that Khabib will fight George, and that will be the final fight of his career. Like, I understand that the UFC maybe doesn't want him to fight George now because he's the champion and he's got a list of contenders. But at some point, this guy's, if he gets through them, or even if he doesn't get through them and he's not the champion anymore, that's a fight that both guys want so much that why not make it happen as the last fight on Khabib's career? Am I crazy?
It's a lot of ifs, because Justin Gaethje knocking out Tony's going to fight Khabib next. It's a lot of ifs, right? Khabib have the chance. George have a chance to fight Khabib, but George is retired. Why we even bringing this pressure on George Saint-Pierre? Who don't, like, he's the greatest of all the time, right? Why? Like, I think we putting pressure on him. George is so powerful. He can pick up the phone and talk to Ari Manuel or Dana White or Sean Shelby and say, hey guys, I'm making 155 pounds. And guess what? He's gonna leapfrog everybody. That's how powerful George Saint-Pierre is. You understand? Because George Saint-Pierre is a real fight. It's a real fight. But right now, it's not about George. It's about Justin Gaethje today. It's about Tony Ferguson today. Listen, I'm giving even Tony Ferguson credit, because a guy I don't even really care for. Like Khabib is a stupid guy, you know? But I have to give him the credit. How are you going to give him a title over him or over Justin if Justin wins? You can't. Khabib will not allow that. That's how honorable Khabib is. You know, Khabib is a different guy. I've never seen him. Khabib is so honorable. He will take this for so much less money because he knows the right decision to make. You know, that's it. That's his. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of ifs. Right now,
for sure,
it's going to be an title. Khabib is going to come back and he's going to try to unify this title. Simple.
Yep. Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, May 9th at a location to be disclosed. We appreciate your time, Ali. Maybe we'll check in with you when you go down there.
One more thing, don't forget about the greatest combat athlete all the time. One of my opinion, not joke, I think he's one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. Henry Cejudo. It's an amazing card. So many fighters, so many superstars. The UFC, listen, you know, they put on a great card, and I think it's gonna be one of the best cards they ever had, you know. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for the time, and I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Thank you guys. You guys be safe as you're traveling out there, all right?
Thank you.